Mondays. I'm going to go ahead and get started over again here. Hi, everyone. My name is Kerry Daigle. I'm in Prairieville, Louisiana, right between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And I wanted to say hello to everyone and thank you for joining us. Tonight, nothing is scripted. Everything that we're doing is just we're flying by the seat of our pants, and we're just having a little bit of fun. And the reason we're doing this primarily is because many of you feel you might know Jeff Roberti. And some of you think you know Jeff Roberti because you've met him a few times. Some of you have not. But we're going to be able to really move into this arena tonight and get to know Jeff on a more personal level. As you know, every Monday night, the Keep Punching University call is strictly a direct dial phone call. For the next 3 Mondays, starting tonight, and the following 2 Mondays, we're going to have 3 episodes with Jeff and get to know a lot of things about Jeff and the business of Juice Plus, and a lot about our company and some of the people that we work with. Now, in those 3 episodes tonight, we're going to find out exactly how did Jeff really start as a network marketer? How did he start with this Juice Plus company? Was this his first company? A lot of people don't know the whole story. We're going to share that with you tonight. And some other interesting stories. Our second episode, of course, is we're going to talk about the introduction of Juice Plus. And we're going to give you the real story. And then the last episode, we're going to talk about how to build a dynasty, build an empire. And that's what this is all about. Now, a lot of you already reaching out. My phone's going off the hook. I'm getting texts. Is this going to be recorded? Do I get a copy? Yes, we're going to record it. Or are you going to get a copy? We're not sure yet. All we know is that we're going to do all 3 before we make a decision to get any recordings out. So we appreciate all of you that have come on early, and we hope that you get the rest of your team and the rest of the people that you work with, even sideline, to join us on these calls on Monday night. So Jeff, a lot of people don't know a whole lot about the real Jeff Roberti. You know how old you were when you really started? And was the Juice Plus company actually your first company? Let's talk about that a little bit. I know the story, but I'd like you to share it.
Okay, thank you, Kerry. Can you guys hear me okay?
Very clear.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on the call tonight. Let's see if I can go to, that's the gallery. Let's see, that's us. All right, so we'll just go to switch camera. There we go. All right, well, thank you, Kerry, for having me on the call tonight. I'm calling in tonight from Sarasota, Florida. And it's my pleasure. It's my honor to be with you guys tonight. It's been quite a story, Kerry. A lot of ups and downs, quite a journey. I got started right out of high school. I didn't have a higher education. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any experience, didn't have a lot of background, but I was hungry. And my first exposure to the direct sales network marketing business was another company. And, it's one thing, Kerry, to be broke and then to make a little bit of money and then you're broke again. And that's what happened is I got involved with another company. A lot of you have heard of Herbalife back in the early 80s. And I met a guy named Jim Rohn and Larry Thompson and Mark Hughes. And I was there for a couple of years, 2.5 years, and wasn't a big earner, but I got to meet people and hear stories of people, average people earning these above average incomes, from school teachers to truck drivers to carpet cleaners, mattress salesmen. I mean, it was just unbelievable, the education I got. And I left there in that company wealthy in not financially, but in belief. and some skills. And they had back in 1985, when I left the company, they had a big lawsuit, the FDA, and the sales had dropped 90%. And it was interesting because, like I said, you come from nothing, you make a little bit of money, and then you're broke again. That same year, Gary, my father passed away. I lost my dad at the age of 46. It was really the worst day of my life when I got that phone call. Massive heart attack, no second chance. And sometimes in life, it's not what happens, it's what you do with what happens. And I use that as a fuel to really drive me in life. Sometimes your deepest pain can give you the biggest purpose. And it's just a question of what meaning you attach to it. I tell people, divorce your story and marry the truth. And I would give it all back, all the success I've had with Juice Plus, to personally have got my own father on Juice Plus, because it just might have saved his life. But I had bought a little apartment for $60,000 back then. And I was 3 months behind on my payments, and I had to move out of that little apartment and rent it out for the season. And I found myself, I guess I was 22 at the time. I was in Herbalife 19. I was 19, 20, 21. And here I am, 22 years old. And I rented a room from a girl for $180 a month. And I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor. And I was in a pretty bad place. And then for about 2 years, really couldn't find anything. A lot of companies came and gone, ups and downs, this and that. And I almost got out of the profession. And then one day, a friend of mine shared with me, our products before Juice Plus. Juice Plus has been around for almost 30 years now, but we were in the environmental business, clean water, water filtration, and air filtration. Those were multi-billion-dollar product lines. And a friend of mine shared with me the water filter, and I got excited. I saw it, and I tell you that I didn't have the financial success. I was really nobody in that company, but I left there. It's kind of like if somebody offered you a briefcase with $1 million in it, or a briefcase with the skills to earn $1 million. Which one would you take? Well, I had the skills. I had the belief. I was never going to go back to being a waiter again, even though I hadn't had the success. So the guy that introduced me had been in the business probably for about 3 years with the company, and only gotten up to sales coordinator, didn't have the success that he was looking for. And in January 1987, I'm 24 years old. I'm an ex-broke waiter. I'm hungry. I'm sleeping on this mattress on the floor. He shares with me this product. I go to a meeting up in Tampa, Florida, about an hour from here, and I hear the stories again. Ralph and Kathy, they're, out of Atlanta, Georgia, and some of the success stories of these average people earning these above average incomes. And I came home that night, and, when you're in the mud, you don't crawl out of the mud, you explode out of the mud. And I came home and I said, you know what? Even though my sponsor quit that very first month and prejudged whether I was going to do anything or not, there was a conference that very first month in Asheville, North Carolina. And I remember I didn't have the money for the plane ticket or for the hotel or anything. And I decided to drive my car up there, and I slept in my car. I worked out at the gym. I had long hair back then, had one suit, skinny little tie. And I sat at that conference at the Grove Park Inn, and I heard the stories and went to the first convention, and I met a man named Jay Martin. And that was a turning point in my life. That was the day that changed my life. You talk about defining moments, moment in time. And I had reached a threshold. I had reached a breaking point. So I got started in the company and really got off to a fast start. The two words I would share with you is consistency and massive action. And I didn't look up line. I didn't look down line. I looked in the mirror. And I'll never forget Jim Rohn said, Jeff, if it's to be, it's up to me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to lead by example, be the best distributor, best partner on my team. I'm going to put on the most new customers, the most new partners, lead by example, hold myself accountable, understood safety in numbers. And so back then in 87, we didn't have social media or Zoom calls. I started running ads. Some of you that are young that are on the call, I've been doing this longer than you've been even before you were even born, is I ran ads in the newspaper. And I got really good at getting the phone to ring. And I would interview people, and I didn't have the money for an office, so I would use hotel lobbies and meet people in the lobby and have my little presentation book and tell the company story and the product story and the opportunity story. And I started talking to a lot of people. And it was interesting. I put together this thing called a 90-day plan. You know, Eric talks about the 90-day plan. Well, he had seen me do these, and I would go into a market and camp out and do 90 days, all out massive action. And, you know, I got some things going, really got some things starting to move. And I understood that the only way you are successful in this business is if you help other people become successful. Zig probably said it the best, right? You know, when he said, you know, you can have everything you want in life if you help everybody, if you can help enough other people get what they want out of life. And this business is never about you. It's always about the person in front of you. And so I had the mindset that I was going to go out there, not only coming from a position of strength, voice of authority, all that passion and enthusiasm. And, you know, I was talking to 20, 30 people every day. That first year I talked to close to 10,000 people. And, but I also had a servant's heart, and people could tell that I really cared. And then I went into like some of the magazines from Herbalife, and I saw I didn't really know anybody because I was just a kid, and, you know, I didn't make a lot of money in the company, but I saw others that did well. And I saw a picture in the magazine of a couple, Bob and Sue Burdick. And I saw Cheryl Cortese and a couple other people. And I cold called them. I called them up, and I'll never forget, they were over in Fort Lauderdale, the Burdicks, and I called up Bob and Sue. And Sue came, I went over to Lauderdale and did a presentation, and Dave Stuckraft was with me at the time. We went over there, and I did a presentation, and Sue got excited, and I cheered the company and the product and the opportunity. And then she went and said, well, I got to bring Bob out. And this was one of my first big recruits that I got. And Bob came out to the meeting that night, and I was, you know, 24, I'm excited, I'm passionate, all this belief, enthusiasm, you know, just that energy. And I do the presentation, and after the presentation, I circle everybody up after the meeting, and I go around the circle, Carrie, and I said, did you see an opportunity here tonight? Are you prepared to get started? And here's what you need to do next. And I'll never forget Bob back then. He came in, he had a long beard and tattoos, and he had these beady eyes. He kind of looked like Charles Manson. And I was intimidated. I believed, but I didn't believe that much. And Bob said to me, and when I asked him, did you see an opportunity prepared to get started? He said, well, 1 minute. And he went and talked to Sue, and he came back to me, and he goes, we're going to borrow the money from our rent money, because he was a carpenter with 5 kids. And he said, we're going to borrow the money and get started here tonight. But he goes, if this is a scam, I'm going to chase you to the blankety blank end of the earth. And I looked over at Dave and said, Dave, you're sponsoring Bob. I'm out of here. But little did I know how hungry those two were, and the work ethic that they brought to the table. And they took a few $100s that they put into the business and kept churning and burning. And I worked over there in Fort Lauderdale, and we did ad campaigns and warm market. We were doing 3 to 5 presentations, talking to people every day. I mean, must have talked to over 100 people a month. And that 90-day plan, and their business just exploded. And then I went to New Orleans. There was a school teacher, Cheryl. A lot of you know Cheryl Cortese from Louisiana. And I thought, New Orleans has got some of the worst water in the country. And I called up Cheryl. and she hung up on me. She wasn't interested. She was going through a tough time. I think she was going through a divorce at the time. And I said, well, Cheryl, I'm coming into New Orleans. I want to kick off New Orleans. I want to get it going. And I went in there to the Ramada Inn, had a big ad campaign going on. And I asked her, I said, just come out and see me. Just come out and see what's going on. And the phone's ringing off the hook. And I got briefings going on, 3, 4, 5 briefings, group briefings a day. And after one of the presentations, she's sitting there and she sees me talk about the company and the product and the opportunity. And I had a handful of applications of people that signed up. And I said to her, these are either yours or they're mine. And what do you think she said? She snatched those applications and said, they're mine. And she came into the business and took off. And so I kept going around the country, Carrie, that first year. And going in, there was Schlegel, there was Sage, there was Earl Shaw, there was all these people that I brought in. And I would go camp out for anywhere from 60 to 90 days and do these all-out massive campaigns. And literally just kept building one leader after another. And that first year, I became the #1 income earner at 24 years old. And just blew it away. They had to bring me into Memphis to see if I was a two-headed monster. They couldn't believe that somebody was building this fast. But I had understood some things and learned some things from Jim Rohn and Larry and Mark and these guys. And I had a level of belief. And I think sometimes, you know, people, they got to believe in their company. They got to believe in their product. They got to believe in their opportunity. But most importantly, believe in yourself. That's the #1 reason people succeed is belief. And I had that belief and just that passion and that enthusiasm. And what I was lacking in money and education and experience and background, I made up with a work ethic. And I understood that there was no free lunch. Nobody can lift your weights for you. You get out of this what you put into it. And then from there, Carrie, I just kept expanding all over the US. And back then, the company was almost 20 years old. Not everybody thinks you got to get in right when a company starts. They were 20 some years old. There was some other big earners that were already in before I came in. And the sales were, I don't know, around $1 million a month. And within my first 2 years, my group was doing $1 million a day. And then I went into Canada and started expanding my business into Canada and had a team there. And it just kept growing. And Carrie, here's another example. You and Mickey, I didn't sponsor you guys first front line, but the dynamic compression in our business, all the people that had dropped out and thought the grass was greener on the other side of the fence, and they dropped out. You compressed up from 10 generations down. And your story is incredible, Carrie, what happened and how you came in. And I'll turn it over to you. Maybe you could share a little bit of that.
Yeah, Jeff, when we look back originally, Mickey would probably know this better than I would, but I think it was all like 10 national marketing directors above us. Is that correct? About 10. And they all quit. Everyone quit. Isn't that funny? It really is. You know, and so that was our opportunity to meet you. But all I can remember is that this guy kept coming to my office every single day. I was sharing an office with a group of attorneys and bartering with them. They were handling contractual work for me in the promotional business, and I was helping promote their law firm. And this guy came every single day, Jeff, every day for 6 weeks. And I told him no every single day. And then I finally sent him over to see Mickey on the busiest time that I could find for him to meet Mickey. And I'm thinking, okay, only way I'm going to get my friend out of here and be as friendly as I can and get an understanding. No is no. I'm going to send him to Mickey. We had been married 1 month, just 1 month at this time, 36 years old. Send him over to see Mickey. I sent him over to see Mickey while she's having a birthday party with Cliff, our son. And I'm thinking, okay, if she's real busy, she'll run this guy off. And I told him, I said, if she joins, I will help her. But if she doesn't, would you let me be? And I'm thinking it's a sure thing. Absolutely, without a question, she's not going to join. She's going to be too busy. She's going to send him off. She had a great job in proprietary school world. She was doing exceptionally well. But Jeff, I came back home that night. Her eyes were as big as saucers. And she's just sitting down and looking at me, and couldn't find out she signed up with this gentleman. And she looked right at me and said, guess what? You're going to be my first distributor. Now you got to understand, when you're married 1 month, you're definitely going to pay attention and listen. So I was married 1 month and I went ahead and signed up. And I really didn't want to. And this is something that's important. I remember going to our first conference, and I left heel marks from Lafayette, Louisiana, all the way to Memphis, Tennessee. Did not want to attend. And I'm sitting in the stands and I'm watching the Bob and Sue Burdicks, et cetera, walking across the stage. And they're telling everyone about their successes. And I'm shaking my head like, no way, this is not happening. And Mickey and her friends would keep coming over to me, and I was real rude. I'll just, y'all leave me alone. Would you just please leave me alone? And I left them. We had bleachers then at this meeting, the meeting in Memphis. It was bleachers, not nice chairs. And I would sit all the way to the top of the bleachers. Everyone thought I was angry with them, but I wanted to hear what was going on. And it blew me away. It just absolutely blew me away. And I got sold, got back home and watched Mickey outwork me. And I just tried to keep up with her, and that was a difficult thing. But as things worked out, here we are now after 33 years. And thanks to Mickey, thank goodness she didn't give up on me. And thank goodness this guy that came over every day for 6 weeks never quit coming. And because of him, we're here today. So being able to say no that many times to someone is quite interesting. You have a story also, Jeff, about your first time visiting a conference, a national conference. You didn't sleep in a nice hotel, did you?
Yeah, I shared that, with that first conference, you got to do what you got to do. And my back was against the wall and I didn't have any money. I told you I didn't come from money. Then I had a little bit of success and then I was broke again. And so I went up to the conference and just, I said, you know what, all excuses are equal, Jeff. You can either make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. But I have to share this with you, Carrie. As the first 5 years of the business here in the United States and Canada, I reinvested back into my business. I didn't go out and buy anything, big house or cars or any of that. Matter of fact, the first car I bought, you guys have heard me share the story about my mother. I bought her a car. It was my big why back then, was to get my mom a car of her dreams. But that first year, those first 5 years here in North America, I had broke over 40 frontline national marketing directors. And then I heard that they were going to open up Europe, and I wasn't done. I mean, I had dreams of making 100,000 a year and then 100,000 a month or 100,000 a week. I mean, I had these huge dreams of what was possible because there's no ceiling. You can build as wide as you want, as deep as you want, and build residual income for the rest of your life. Well, they were opening up Germany. And I thought to myself, Germany, I didn't sprechen Sie Deutsch. I didn't know anyone in Germany. And I said to myself, the bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. If you can figure out how to open up Germany, that'll expand all throughout Europe. So I ran ads, Carrie, back then in the early 90s for bilingual people here in the United States. I put in there, a six-figure income, national marketing director, bilingual must, blah, 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 call for details. And I got a lot of calls. And that was my social media. Concepts are constant. The basics, the fundamentals will never change. You get paid for sharing the story, the products, and the opportunity. The techniques, the different means and ways is what varies. Back then the phone was glued to the wall and it had a rotary dial, a big long cord on it. Long distance calls cost $1 a minute. We thought we were cool when we could fax somebody. Today, you got this thing called a smartphone. Your whole business, you can operate right off of this. But I ran ads in the United States, recruited bilingual people, brought them to the conference because I understood that was the big picture where I could go out there and do my DMO, my daily method of operation, talking to people, telling the product story, telling the opportunity story, building for events, one event to the next. But when we had a major impending event, like a big convention, I learned to master those big events. And I would load up the dance and bring a freshman class to the conference. Well, I brought a freshman class of bilingual people here in the United States and Canada that, they're interested in going to Germany with me. So they saw the big picture here. And I said, if you'll go to Germany with me, I will help you build a national marketing director business and build a residual income for the rest of your life. So I go over to Germany and we start running big ad campaigns over there. They come with me. And I broke 5 frontline national marketing directors my first year there. And they're translating me, Carrie, because, everything's in German. And I'm up there telling the company story, product story, opportunity story. And when they're translating me, they had translated so many presentations that they were getting ahead of me. Like I'd say something and then they keep going in German. And I was like, I didn't say that much. And I knew that I had duplicated myself, because it's one thing to tell somebody, it's another thing to show them. They're trying it and they're doing it. It's called tell, show, try, do. When I sign somebody up, it's not you go do it, let's do it together. Your contact's my presentation. And I tell them, I show them, they try it, and before I cut them loose, they're doing it. And so it was amazing how we got it going. And then it went into Switzerland and Austria, and I went to Italy and all over Europe. And so that was amazing. The business was exploding. And then, remember I told you all these ups and downs? We had to change our marketing system. Jay had to buy back any unused filters that people had purchased that they hadn't sold. They had to change the pay plan. There was some things where we were too opportunity driven and they had to make some changes. And Jay's an amazing man. He stayed in there, kept the company afloat, kept it going. But I had lost over 500 marketing directors. You guys cry about losing a few people? Try that one. Okay? 500 of them are gone. And I had to start over.
That's amazing. When we look back too, Jeff, and we talk about today, the business is so easy. It really is. It's so simple. I remember standing at a payphone with a roll of quarters and a roll of nickels so we could make calls, and call prospects.
Yeah.
You remember those days, don't you?
I was over at Pier 66 in Fort Lauderdale with a roll of, I don't even think it was a quarter back then. I think it was a dime or something. I don't even remember, but we were smiling and dialing, baby. We were either on the phones or doing a meeting, doing a presentation, and we met everybody face to face. But when I lost all those marketing directors and we had to start over, the next episode, we're going to talk about the Juice Plus story and bring it to how did Juice Plus get introduced? How did Juice Plus evolve? And the ones that stayed, Carrie, you and Mickey and Danny and some of the people on this call and the Cheryls and the Bob and Sues and the Cynthias and some of us that stayed and didn't go jump to something else, we were the ones that now with Juice Plus, it's a multi-billion, I don't know how many billions Juice Plus has done, 10, 12, 15 billion. And the story is incredible. when I share that. So that's just a little bit in a 30-minute period of a little bit of the journey, because it hasn't been all easy. I mean, I've lost a father, I've lost a brother, I've gone through a divorce, I've had some challenges in my life, found God, I've found happiness, inner peace, and I'm a different person today. And it's been a roller coaster of up and downs. But I truly believe today, Carrie, the opportunity is stronger than ever. And I think what's happened is a lot of people over the last couple of years with COVID and the war and the inflation and all these things, a lot of people have almost like it's PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. People have gotten paralyzed with all this fear. If you turn on CNN, constant negative news, you can paralyze yourself in fear. And here's the thing. I sell hope. I sell hope to people. Sign here, win here. I believe in you. Let's do this together. I love the product, but I'm just as excited today about the opportunity as ever. Because you know how many people's lives we could change today with an extra $500, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, what that would do, what that would mean to people out there. And you got to get that belief, that excitement, that enthusiasm, and get back out there and talk to more people. And how you do that, that's up to you. Three-way calls, home parties, regionals, boot camps, pajama regionals, using the phone, the internet, social media, whatever it is. You've got a job to do. And your job description is to talk to people, to share the story. And if you do that today with the Juice Plus products and the Juice Plus opportunity and get serious and put together a summer campaign, July, August, September, and roll that in to our big convention in Atlanta in October, and now all of a sudden you're building something that's got momentum, you're establishing that momentum, right? And then you roll that in to the last quarter of the year, and what happens January of 2023? New Year's resolutions. But if you want to have a big kickoff in 23 and have a great year in 23, you got to start now. You got to get it going now. You got to go out there and be consistent. Consistency, effort, work habits, and attitude. And I know it's summertime, but what a great time to share the wonderful gift of health and wealth with people. People want our product. We are in high demand. This is a product that people want, need, and they don't have. And all you got to do is open your mouth and share. Talk to these people, share it with them. And you can have some momentum going through the summer, roll it into Atlanta, parlay that into the last quarter of the year. And in January, all of a sudden, your business is exploding. Because we know what's on the top of everybody's New Year's resolution. Doesn't it have to do something with health? Want to lose weight, look better? All the things with your health, take self-responsibility. And it has to do with your wealth. I want to do better financially. And we meet those two needs at a very high level, Carrie. So I look forward to the next episode, part 2, and sharing the Juice Plus story. I'm more excited and passionate now about what we have. I believe the best years are ahead of us, not behind us. And the ones that take this thing serious, you get out of it what you put into it. You can get off this call tonight and do nothing. Or you could say, you know what? I've been playing small. It's time for me to step up. It's time for me to hold myself accountable and go back out there and start leading my organization, not pushing people, but leading by example. People watch the feet, not the lips. They don't do what you tell them to do. They do what you do. And if you're that type of leader, success breeds success. And so that's all I have to share tonight. Carrie, if you got anything else, please have at it.
Well, I have to be able to say that the last 2.5 years, we know that we've been in a health crisis. But that is something that will probably, in my opinion, exactly what you were saying, Jeff, is going to move us into another stratosphere with this company. How many times have we seen challenges over the last 3 decades that we've been involved with the Juice Plus company and NSA? We've seen a lot of challenges, but we come out of those challenges a lot stronger. So now people are more alert when it comes to building the immune system because of the health challenge we've had in the last 2.5 years. People are going into a mental fog. They've been working out of their home. They're unhappy going back to their jobs. I really believe, Jeff, that in the next 24 months, we're going to set records as we've done in the past after other trials and tribulations that we've had. And you know that we've experienced it before. So I'm excited about episode 2, where everyone's going to learn about the Juice Plus introduction to the Juice Plus company at NSA, called NSA at that time. And we're going to give you the real story that's going to make you laugh a little bit. At the same time, you're going to learn a whole lot about things you've never heard. So we urge you to join us next week, same time, same place, same Zoom, where we're going to have another conversation on what the Juice Plus company is all about. And Jeff, again, for all of you listening, remember this: the preeminent distributor, the guy that has become a leader, the guy who has become the #1 income earner, has set records, not only in direct sales, but with the Juice Plus company. And many of you needed to hear that story tonight, because he's not just a guy that walked into a gold mine or just decided to have this Midas touch. He put the effort in, the sweat equity necessary to be able to make things happen. And what's interesting is that everyone listening in, no matter how long you've been involved, you still have that same opportunity. We'll appreciate all of you. Jim and Danny, you can shut it down for us. Cut the recording off. We appreciate you. Everybody have a good night. Keep punching.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a great
Thanks
night.
so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a blessed evening.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,